On Christmas Day, my son gave his dad a $30,000 car and gave me a napkin with the words, "Worst mom ever," written on it. After a week, he called me crying. "Mom, don't do this." What happened next shocked everyone. I will tell you how it all started. First, let me thank you for watching Granny's Voice. Your support means everything to us. If you like our stories, please click subscribe. Tell us which city you're watching from in the comments. We love hearing from you. Today, we want to say hello to Pauline Bryan from Canada. Thank you for watching our stories. Now, let me tell you what really happened. For 20 years, I thought being a good mom meant saying yes to everything. If my son wanted something, I found a way to get it. When he needed money, I gave it. When he made mistakes, I fixed them. I told myself this was love. My name is Sarah, and I work as a school teacher. I raised my son, Tommy, mostly by myself after his dad left when Tommy was 8. His dad came back into his life when Tommy turned 15. Suddenly, I became the mean parent, and Dad became the fun one. Tommy started calling his dad the cool parent, and me the rule maker. It hurt, but I kept trying. Every birthday, every school event, every time he needed help, I was there. His dad would show up with expensive gifts and big promises, then he'd disappear for weeks. But somehow I was always the bad guy. Tommy would roll his eyes when I asked about homework. He'd groan when I set rules about staying out late. But when Dad called, Tommy's whole face would light up. It felt like I was losing my own child. Christmas morning was always hard for me. Some years, Tommy spent it with his dad and forgot to call me. Other years, like this one, I got invited but felt like a stranger. The invitation came as a text message. Christmas dinner at Dad's house, 3 p.m., bring dessert. No warm words, no excitement, just instructions. But I went anyway. I wore the red sweater Tommy used to say made me look like Santa's helper. He used to laugh at that joke. Now he barely looked at me. The house smelled like turkey and pine trees, but the air felt cold and uncomfortable. Tommy stood in the living room holding a small box with car keys inside. Everyone was already there. His dad, his dad's girlfriend Lisa, some neighbors, even Lisa's teenage daughter, who got a warmer welcome than I did. "Dad," Tommy said, his voice full of excitement, "you've always been there for me when it mattered. You showed me how to be a man, so I wanted to give you something special." He handed the box to his father like it was made of gold. Everyone gasped when they saw the shiny black car keys inside. "It's a BMW," Tommy announced. "The one you always wanted. I saved up and bought it yesterday." The room exploded with cheers and hugs. Everyone was jumping up and celebrating. I sat quietly on the couch, holding my coffee cup with both hands, because nobody offered to get me one. I forced myself to smile. This wasn't about money. I could have bought 10 of those cars. But it wasn't about the car. It was about what Tommy was really saying. He saw his dad as the hero and me as nothing. Then he turned to me, for the first time all day. "Oh, I didn't forget about you, Mom," he said with a smirk. "Here." He tossed a crumpled napkin across the table, like throwing away trash. I opened it slowly. Written in black marker were the words, "Worst mom ever." Everyone started laughing. I looked up, not sure if I should laugh or cry. His friends were giggling like it was the funniest joke they'd ever heard. His dad shook his head but said nothing. Lisa pretended to look at her phone. Tommy stood there with his arms crossed, looking proud of himself. I folded the napkin once, then twice, and put it in my pocket. "Very creative," I said quietly. "Thanks," he shrugged. "It's just a joke, Mom. Don't be so serious." But I wasn't laughing. I didn't say another word for the rest of the day. I watched him serve everyone else, but forgot about me. I sat in that crowded room full of people who used to be my family. Now I felt invisible. That's when I realized something important. I wasn't being ignored anymore. I was being erased. On the drive home, I didn't turn on any music. I needed the quiet to think clearly. I thought about the apartment he lived in, the one he thought his dad was paying for. I thought about his college tuition that I paid every month. I thought about the credit card bills I covered when he overspent. He never knew I was behind all of it. I did everything quietly because I wanted him to feel proud of himself. I wanted him to think he was doing well on his own. But instead, he used my kindness against me. As I pulled into my driveway, I took out the napkin and stared at those ugly words. Worst mom ever. Maybe that's how he really saw me. Maybe I had been too soft, too giving, too desperate for his love. I put the napkin on my kitchen table and stared at it for a long time. Not anymore, I whispered to myself. Something changed inside me that night. I wasn't going to beg for love anymore. Not from him. Not from anyone. I had given him everything, and he handed me an insult. The next morning, I made some important phone calls. For 7 days, my phone stayed silent. No calls, no texts, not even a simple "thank you for coming to dinner." The silence was loud, louder than it had ever been before. This time, I didn't try to fill the empty space with my own calls. I didn't send him worried messages asking if everything was okay. I had done that dance for too many years. I used to believe that if I just stayed patient long enough, if I just kept giving and helping and sacrificing, he would eventually appreciate me. But love without respect is just slow torture, and I was done being hurt. I spent that first day looking through old papers and documents I had stored away under his baby photos and school awards. I found the lease for his apartment, the one with his name on it, but paid through my bank account. His dad had talked about being the provider, but when it came time for the security deposit, I was the one who stepped in quietly. I also found the insurance papers for his car, another gift his dad took credit for, but I was the one making the monthly payments. Tommy didn't know any of this. I made sure he wouldn't know it. I wanted him to feel independent and strong, not like he owed me anything. But independence had turned into cruelty, and being kind had made me invisible. The next morning, I called my lawyer, Robert. "Sarah," he said, surprised, "I didn't expect to hear from you during the holidays." "Well," I said quietly, "plans change." I told him exactly what I needed. Stop paying for Tommy's apartment starting next month, cancel the insurance on his car through my policy, remove him from my credit card accounts that he used for emergencies. It would all happen quietly. No drama, just the removal of support he never knew was there. Robert paused before answering. "Are you sure you want to do this?" I didn't answer right away. I looked at a picture on my desk from when Tommy was 7. We were at the beach, both covered in sand, both laughing, back when I was his whole world, before I became the enemy in his dad's stories. He embarrassed me in front of strangers, on purpose, and it's not the first time. It's just the last time I will allow it. Robert sighed. "I'll take care of it." After that call, the days felt strange. Quiet mornings with tea and sad memories. Afternoons cleaning the house, thinking about every Christmas dinner where I felt unwanted. I kept wondering if he would call. Maybe he would notice something was different. Maybe he would even say sorry. But nothing happened. Not until day 7. I was reading a book in my living room when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. "Mom." I didn't say anything. "Mom, it's me. It's Tommy. Please, don't do this." I could hear cars in the background. Maybe the sound of him walking. He was crying. Not fake crying like when he wanted something as a kid. This was real, deep crying. "I went to pay my rent today and my card got declined. The landlord said I have 3 days to pay or I'm out. And my car got towed because the insurance was canceled." I still didn't say anything. "Mom, please, I know you did this. I know it was you. Just talk to me. Tell me how to fix this." That was the moment. Not Christmas. Not the napkin. Not even the laughter from his friends. That moment when he finally admitted what I had all along. Not just a wallet or a backup plan, but the one who never gave up on him. I should have felt happy to be right, but I just felt empty. "What about your dad?" I asked calmly. "What did he say when you told him?" Tommy got quiet. He said it's not his problem, that I need to figure out my own life. I let out a long, tired breath. "I told you," I said softly, "that man shows up for the fun parts. I'm the one who's been there for everything else." "I know," he whispered. "I know I messed up. I was just trying to be funny. I didn't think about how it would hurt you. You never think," I said sharper than I meant to, "you never once asked how much I do for you.
And now that you've lost everything, suddenly I'm mom again." He was crying harder now. It made my heart hurt, but I didn't let it change my voice. "Go ask your cool dad for help. See if he can fix it. Please don't hang up. I need you." I stared at
The napkin still sitting on my kitchen table, folded just like he gave it to me. "I needed you too," I said, "and you gave me this." Then I hung up the phone. I didn't sleep that night, not for 1 minute. I lay in bed fully dressed, my mind spinning in circles. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard his voice again. "Mom, please don't do this." And underneath his begging, I could still hear the laughter from Christmas Day echoing in my ears like a bad song I couldn't forget. It wasn't about the gift or even the mean words on the napkin. It was about how he treated me like I didn't matter, like I was some old toy from his childhood that he kept around because he felt sorry for me. That napkin wasn't a joke. It was a message. You're not important to me anymore. But suddenly, now that his comfortable life was falling apart, I had value again. Now, without his apartment and car, he remembered who kept everything running behind the scenes. The strange thing is, I wasn't angry when he called. Not really. I was just tired. Tired of having to prove I deserved my own son's love. The next morning, I made coffee just to hold something warm. I didn't drink it. I stood by the window watching the snow fall, wondering how long it would take before he called again. It didn't take long. By 10 a.m., he was calling from his real number. "Mom," he said quickly, like he was afraid I'd hang up. "Can we please meet somewhere? I'll come to you. Just don't hang up on me again." I didn't hang up. I let the silence stretch until he filled it with words. "I'm sorry," he said. "I swear I didn't mean for it to go so far. I was trying to make people laugh, and I didn't realize how cruel I was being." "You didn't realize?" His voice cracked again, and this time I could hear how scared he really was. "I've been sleeping on my friend Jake's couch. I don't have anywhere else to go. Dad hasn't even called to check on me. He texted me once just to say he's sorry things are tough. He said it's not his job to fix my problems. My car is still in the impound lot because I can't afford to get it out." I leaned against my kitchen counter, holding the phone with both hands. There it was, the thing I had waited so long to hear. But instead of feeling good about it, I just felt sad and tired. Because now I knew he didn't love me for who I was. He only needed me when things went wrong. I was like a fire extinguisher behind glass, only used in emergencies. "You know," I said slowly, "I spent years hoping you'd call me Mom, with love in your voice. Not because you needed something, just because you wanted to talk to me." "I do want to," he said quickly. "I just didn't know how. Everything Dad said about you made it hard for so long. I guess I didn't want to see the truth." "How convenient," I said. "You didn't want to see the truth until you lost your apartment and your car?" "I know how it looks," he said, "but I promise this isn't just about the money and stuff. It's about you. Miss you. I want to make things right between us." His voice broke there like he wasn't sure if I would believe him, and for a moment I saw him again. The little boy who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms, the teenager who called me when he got his first job, the young man who hugged me at his high school graduation and said I was the best mom in the world. He had spent years pushing me away, and now he wanted me back. "I'm not stopping you from making things right," I said carefully. "You're just going to have to do it without my money saving you." "What does that mean?" "It means," I replied, "you're going to have to find a job and pay your own rent. You're going to have to learn what it's like to take care of yourself. That's what grown-ups do." "So this is punishment?" "No," I said. "This is called having boundaries." He breathed out hard, like someone had punched him in the stomach. "I don't have anyone else to help me," he said. "Maybe you should think about why that is." The phone went quiet. He didn't argue with me or get angry. He just went silent. "I'll figure it out myself,"
he whispered finally. "Thanks for nothing." Before I could say anything back, he hung up on me. I didn't move for a long time after that. The coffee had gotten cold. My legs felt heavy. I knew what I had done. I hadn't just closed the door between us. I had locked it. And it wasn't easy. Every part of me wanted to run after him, to fix everything, to make it all better like I always did. But I also knew that if I did that, nothing would ever change. He would go back to treating his dad like a hero the minute his bank account had money again. He would tell himself this was just another example of my meanness, not the final result of my broken heart. So I stood there, still and strong, letting the pain settle in my chest like cement drying. That evening, my friend Janet came over. She's another teacher who understood family drama. She noticed something was different about me before I said a word. "You okay, Sarah?" she asked. I nodded, but I told her the truth. "No," I said, "but I'm doing what I have to do." She tilted her head, thinking. "Tough love." "No," I said, "just love without the lies." She nodded like she understood exactly what I meant. "You're not the bad guy, Sarah," she said quietly. "Sometimes being a good parent means being the villain in your kid's story." Maybe that was true. Maybe I was finally stepping into the role he had given me, the worst mom ever. But if that what it took to make him grow up, to finally see me as more than a piggy bank in an apron, then I could live with it. The first angry call didn't come from Tommy. It came from his dad. Sharp and mean, right on schedule. I was washing dishes when the phone rang, and I don't know why I answered it. Maybe I wanted to hear what he would say. Maybe I needed to know he still had that same anger after all those years, even if it was always aimed at me. "What the hell did you do?" he snapped. No hello, no politeness. "Tommy's a mess. He's sleeping on friends' couches. He can't pay his rent. And you told me you canceled his car insurance?" I took my time drying a plate. "It's not his apartment. It's mine, legally. And that car insurance was through my policy. He didn't own anything. You're seriously going to hurt your own son because of a stupid joke?" I could hear the whine in his voice, the same bitter tone he used in every argument we ever had. "No," I said calmly. "I did it because he's been treating me like garbage for years, and I finally stopped allowing it. You're punishing him for being upset with you. That's rich. You were never there for the emotional stuff, Sarah. You just threw money at problems and expected it to buy love." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. "And you poisoned him against me every chance you got. You told him I was cold and uncaring. But guess who paid for his apartment when your credit was too bad? Guess who made sure he had food and transportation? I did it all quietly because I wanted him to feel strong and independent. I didn't want to compete with you. I just wanted him happy." There was a pause. Not silence, but the sound of someone trying to think of what to say next. "You always thought money solved everything," he said, but his voice was weaker now. "And you made sure he never saw what I really gave him." He hung up on me. Few hours later, I started seeing posts on social media. Tommy's friends were sharing vague messages. "Some people who claimed to love you are actually toxic." No names mentioned, but people in our small town knew what was happening. Within minutes, messages started coming to my phone. "Is everything okay with Tommy? Heard there's some family drama. Not my business, but that Christmas thing was pretty harsh." And then posts from his college friends started appearing. Girls I remember helping when Tommy needed extra money for group trips. If my mom did this to me, I'd never speak to her again. Funny, I thought. Never speak to me. He barely spoke to me anyway, unless he needed something. I didn't respond to any of it. I didn't defend myself or explain my side. but something inside me started to fray. Not guilt or regret, but a kind of exhaustion that comes when you realize you're fighting a battle nobody else understands. I had become the villain in a story I funded, and now everyone had front row seats to watch. That weekend, my niece Emma came by. She's Tommy's age, smart, honest, and never afraid to speak her mind. She walked in carrying 2 cups of hot chocolate and a concerned look. "He's really milking this drama, Aunt Sarah," she said, settling into my recliner without being invited. "Posted a video yesterday crying about being abandoned by a selfish parent. Had some sad music and everything." I didn't react, just sipped the hot chocolate. But you know what, Emma? Half the comments were calling him out. Someone posted screenshots from his old social media where he bragged about having 2 parents who spoiled him. People put the pieces together pretty fast. That surprised me. People actually defended me. "Not everyone," Emma said, "but enough to shake him up."
"I didn't," Emma replied firmly. "You just stopped paying for his fantasy." Later that evening, I went to a family barbecue at my sister's house. I had promised to come weeks ago and didn't want to cancel and give people more reasons to talk about me. But the minute I walked in, I felt it. Everyone watching me, waiting for the villain to say something dramatic. "Sarah," my cousin Mike said, holding a beer, "mind if I ask what really happened with Tommy? Everyone's talking about it." I didn't want to do this. Not here. Not in front of kids and neighbors and people who barely knew the whole story. But it was already happening. "He gave me a napkin," I said, looking around at all their faces. It said, "Worst mom ever," on it. Then he gave his dad a $30,000 car. That's what really happened. The backyard got quiet. Even the kids stopped playing. I let the silence sink in. Then I added, "So I stopped paying for his life. Let him learn what the world looks like without the mom he claims to hate." Someone started clapping. One person, then another. My sister, surprisingly enough. "You did what needed to be done," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "About time someone in this family stood up for themselves." Not everyone agreed, I could tell by their faces. But for the first time in years, I didn't feel crazy. I felt understood. On the drive home, I didn't cry or celebrate. I just felt the weight of everything that had happened. The years I tried to be perfect. The love I offered freely. The silence I endured when he chose his dad over me. Maybe I hadn't been a perfect mother, but I had never walked away, gave hope. And now finally, I had stopped begging for scraps of affection. By the following week, it was no longer just whispers among family or mutters among friends. Had become a show. Social media had a way of turning private pain into public entertainment, and Tommy played his part like he was acting in a movie. He posted a series of childhood photos, ones I hadn't seen in years, with a long story that made him sound like the forgotten, emotionally starved son of a cold, heartless woman. He didn't use my name directly, but it didn't take much detective work to figure out who he was talking about. He talked about how money doesn't make a mother, how he had been thrown away for speaking his truth, and how he was starting over from nothing after a lifetime of walking on eggshells around me. It was manipulative, dishonest, and perfectly written. Within hours, the post had thousands of likes and hundreds of comments. Strangers offering sympathy, old classmates tagging each other in shock, and even some online influencers sharing it with captions like, "Healing means cutting toxic people out, even family." I sat at my kitchen table watching the numbers go up. My name wasn't mentioned, but in our little town, I had become the cautionary tale of the week. I didn't respond, not yet. But then came the part that really hurt me. Not the post itself, but the phone call from my principal the next morning. "Sarah," she said carefully, "we have a situation. One of our substitute teachers shared Tommy's post on her story. The school board saw it. It's making rounds through the staff. That crossed the line." My private humiliation was now bleeding into my professional world, the place I had built my reputation through 20 years of dedicated teaching. "I'll handle it," I said firmly. And I did.
I sent an email to all staff about professionalism, social media boundaries, and keeping personal matters private. I never mentioned Tommy by name, but everyone understood. I didn't think it could get worse until I ran into his dad at the grocery store that Saturday. I almost didn't recognize him at first. He looked older, more tired. But the moment he saw me, his face got hard and he walked straight toward me. "Sarah," he said with a fake smile. "Funny seeing you here. Thought you'd be hiding at home." I put a bag of apples in my cart and looked at him calmly. "Not hiding, just buying groceries." He laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "You really messed up Tommy's life," he said. "He's staying with different friends every few days. Says he's never seen you act this cold." "And you?" I asked. "Where are you staying?" That caught him off guard. His fake smile disappeared. "She told me you disappeared the minute things got complicated." He scoffed. "He's 25, Sarah, not a little kid. If he can't handle a few problems, maybe he's not as mature as he thinks." I studied him for a moment, seeing through the smooth talk and practiced charm that had convinced my son he was the better parent. But there it was, his true self. Cold, distant. Gone the second the emotional bill came due. "Funny," I said. "You were quick to call me a selfish mother, but you bailed faster than anyone when he actually needed help." "I'm not his mother," he said. "No," I agreed, "but you let him call you the good parent. You encouraged it. You bought his loyalty with promises you couldn't keep. You wanted the title without the responsibility." His face turned red. "You're just bitter because he chose me." "No," I said calmly. "I'm just done pretending you're actually a parent." We stood there, two people in the middle of the produce section, the truth of our 20-year triangle finally exposed for what it was. Not love, not family, just a performance. He turned without another word, pushing his cart away like he hadn't just been completely exposed. Later that evening, I got a voicemail from Tommy. He didn't call directly, just left his words on my answering machine like throwing a message into a bottle into the ocean. "I saw that your work got involved. I didn't mean for it to blow up like that. I just needed people to understand my side. I didn't think it would affect your job. I just felt so alone, and I wanted people to see what I was going through. I'm sorry if I crossed the line." No apology for the napkin, no request to come home, just a small piece of regret. And it stirred something strange in me. Not forgiveness, but a kind of sadness for what we used to be. That night, I sat at my kitchen table and stared at a blank piece of paper. I didn't write anything down, I just let the weight of everything settle over me. The betrayal, the public shaming, the cold reality that no matter how much I loved him, he would always choose the version of our story that made him feel better. My phone buzzed with a text from my sister. "Thinking of you. You did what every parent wants to do but is too scared to try. You stood up for yourself." I stared at that message for a long time. Maybe I wasn't the monster he painted me as. Maybe I was just the first person in his life to stop enabling his selfishness. The letter arrived on a Thursday morning, tucked inside a white envelope with my name written in Tommy's careful handwriting. It was the same handwriting I used to see on thank you cards for birthday presents and Mother's Day gifts from when he was small, before we learned how to hurt each other with grown-up cruelty. For a long while, I didn't open it. I placed it on my coffee table next to my morning newspaper, touched it once or twice like it might sting me, then walked away. I wasn't afraid of what was inside. I was afraid of what it might make me feel. 3 days passed before I finally tore it open. "Mom, I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even know if I deserve to ask you to. I'm writing this because staying silent feels worse than facing your anger. And because for the first time in my adult life, I'm starting to understand how much you actually did for me and how little I ever appreciated it. I was angry for a long time, not just at you, but at everything. The divorce, switching between houses, the way Dad talked about you like you were cold and selfish. I think I held on to Dad because he felt simple and easy. He didn't carry baggage with him. He didn't remind me of all the broken pieces. But you never left. You showed up quietly, consistently, and I used that against you. I made you the safe target because I thought you'd never fight back. And when you finally did, I realized I had pushed you past something I didn't understand. I'm not asking for anything back. I just wanted you to know I see it now. I see you. It wasn't long, maybe half a page, no dramatic begging, no promises to change overnight. Just words, simple, tired, real. And somehow that hit me harder than all the crying phone calls or public drama. It was the kind of letter you write when you're sitting alone with yourself in a quiet room. No audience to perform for. I folded it back up and placed it in the drawer where I kept old pictures and Mother's Day cards from when he was little. Not because I forgave him completely, not because I was ready to unlock that door again, but because I believed he meant it. And maybe that was enough for now. That weekend, I drove by his new place. It wasn't hard to find. A small studio apartment above a pizza shop downtown with metal stairs and faded paint on the door. I didn't knock or go inside. I just parked across the street and watched for a while, like some sad character in a movie. He came out around lunchtime, backpack over his shoulder, looking like he was heading to work. He looked thinner and more tired, but not broken. There was something different about the way he walked. Head up, shoulders back, eyes focused ahead. He crossed the street without seeing me and disappeared into a small office building. I didn't follow him.
Instead, I left a small envelope in his mailbox. Inside, a single piece of paper with just a few words. Proud of you for trying. Keep going, Mom. No signature needed. No money. No offer to fix everything. Just recognition. Quiet, like I had always been. Teddy. At home, I made dinner for one and turned on the TV just to fill the silence. I wasn't lonely, not in the way I used to be. I missed him, yes, but I didn't ache for his approval anymore. Somewhere between that napkin and this letter, something had shifted inside me. I had mourned the version of him I tried so hard to hold on to. And now I was meeting the version of him he might actually become. I had no plans to fix what was broken between us. That wasn't my job anymore. I had taught him how to fall down, and more importantly, how to get back up. Whether he came back into my life or not, I had done what I needed to do. Not for revenge, but for truth. Sometimes being a mother means stepping away, not out of spite, but out of love so deep it refuses to be taken for granted any longer. I took the napkin out of the kitchen drawer where I'd kept it all this time. It was still folded neatly, the cruel words as sharp as ever. Worst mom ever. But it didn't cut the same way anymore. Now it felt like proof that I had finally drawn a line in the sand. That I had demanded to be seen not as a backup plan or a safety net, but as a person who deserved basic respect. I placed it back in the drawer and closed it slowly. Some stories don't end with hugs and happy reunions. Some end with silence, understanding, and a boundary held firm. And that's perfectly okay. I had done enough. I had been enough. And for the first time in years, that truth was finally crystal clear. Not every story ends with reconciliation, but sometimes holding your boundaries is the only way to heal both yourself and the people you love most. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Drop a comment and let me know if I was right or if I went too far. And if this story touched your heart, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Granny's Voice for more powerful, real-life family stories that will stay with you long after the video ends. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you soon in our next heartfelt story. Remember, sometimes the greatest act of love is knowing when to step back and let someone learn to stand on their own 2 feet. Until next time, this is Granny's Voice signing